Hey everybody.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Geist the Sin Eaters, second edition, uh, episode 2. Hopefully, audio.
I fixed it. I think I fixed it.
Everybody say a little something.
Hello, can you
Greetings.
hear me?
Hmm. Okay. Apparently, apparently nothing is working and everything's on fire. Excuse me. Ah.
Hello. Greetings, everybody.
I think we've got it fixed.
All
Can you?
right. I think we've got it fixed. If we're still having audio problems, let us know. Otherwise, when I listen to the stream, it seems like it's sounding fine. So, all right. Thanks for the information. I'm glad to hear that you guys are hearing it too, because it sounded good to me when I listened on from the Twitch audio, but not anyone else. I was going to be a little concerned about my own hearing. That said, let's get into it. So, today is Thursday, October 12th, 2023. It's been 3 days since the last time the group got together. What have each of you been doing in that time?
All right. Ty. Um, well, the first thing he did is went and visited the cemetery and spent some time learning about ghosts and geists and sin eaters from the Mad Undertaker. And apparently that went fairly smoothly. The Mad Undertaker was willing to tell me just about anything and went on long lectures about his experiences being a sin eater back in the 1950s. So, yay!
Well, being part of a sin eater,
Well,
you
yes,
know.
my. Um,
Regardless.
so they've been a sin eater before. We might have to spend some time figuring out what they were doing at that time. Um, I spent the second day going through my parents' tape collection of my previous hockey games and assembled a highlights reel for future use. Um, it took about a day of video editing, and I've got a decent highlight reel now, though it was kind of a rough thing to do. Just watching all my dead friends for hours. Um, be aggressive apparently got really bored and spent most of the day chewing on things in my room unsuccessfully. And lastly, I went to clear out my uncle's old fishing lodge and get some replacements for my hockey gear sorted out since the bus that they were on hasn't been found. And I'm not waiting on that to show back up. And that's all sorted out. And Be Aggressive apparently likes my uncle's fishing lodge and spent a long time chasing around the local wildlife.
Or again, attempting to. All right, who's next?
Tibbs, you want to go?
Sure. So, uh, I didn't really do any much. Mostly spent the first day working on basically memorizing the journal um, of that Lucy's boss has. Um, then the second day, uh, spent the day kind of figuring out who's haunting my home, and found was able to find Daffodil again, who was the lead maid for the house, as well as a gentleman um, in the dining room who was just not really all that active, I guess you could say. And then finally, a third ghost down in the basement who I'm not able to see because he's hiding in shadows and stuff like that. Um, then the third day, I spent pretty much the entire day experimenting with my newfound abilities and what I can do with it. Um, this marionette ability sounds like it's going to be fun to play with.
All right, and Lex, that means it's your turn.
Excellent. So, day one, Nathan decided to go visit his grandmother. Uh, they were going to have soup. She's very happy to see him, but he does get scolded for like an hour for going missing for 4 days. And this woman can scold. She is the one who basically helped him get into speech and debate. So that was a day. The soup was good though. The next day, I went to the Scream Shack to look through Lucille's boss's books, and she let me read them. And Gus and the prom queen did some reading over and through my shoulder and provided apparently a lot of commentary.
No,
Uh,
Gus
but
did
now,
anyway.
but now I can roll anytime I want to recall something from the journals. And day three, I decided to use my research skills to start tracking down um, any serial killers in the area that seem to have the same MO. Um, Apparently, my search results were complicated. Whispering Peaks, Colorado has been graced by 6 serial killers in the past, but none of them had this methodology. But there was some cold cases dubbed the Da Vinci murders in France that happened in the mid 70s.
All right. And real quick, let's go over our aspirations so the folks at home know what you're going for. And for anyone who's not familiar with Chronicles of Darkness, aspirations are tied to the experience system. Fulfilling an aspiration gives you a beat. 5 beats gives you an experience point, and experience points can be spent on skills, traits, etc. Who wants to go first?
I can.
Alrighty.
All right. So Nathan's aspirations for this session. We've got 2 long term that carry over from last session, which are look into the prom queen in the yearbooks and find the killer. That each have a step on them. My next one is check on my grandma. My fourth one is do something smart. We left that vague very intentionally. And number 5 is find my voice.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go. Ty's aspirations for this run: get scouted for college hockey, which we've already taken a step towards. Similarly, for find the son of a bitch who took everything from me, which I have also taken a step towards. Um, get Geist 101 from the Mad Undertaker. take Ziggy's tour and get some leads on local haunts, and figure out something about be aggressive.
Alrighty, Tibbs, it's you.
You have muted yourself.
Okay, so currently, I have 4 aspirations. One is get out of Whispering Peaks. Uh, we got get a world record speed run. The third is learn the rules of the game, and the fourth is find the gaps.
All right, leaving that one vague, huh?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that my players, at least, because we've been in this group for about 10 years, like to do is leave the aspirations vague so that they can figure out what fulfilling them means on the fly. I allow it because I think it's fun. Other storytellers might not. So if you're interested in running a game like this, don't feel like you've got to allow that kind of shenanigans.
He's been putting up with us for years at this point.
Alrighty. So, Thursday, the 12th of October, 2023. The three of you are getting together. Where and when?
Um,
You guys want to meet at the library?
yeah, we do have one thing that we need to go get a solid lead on, and we know it's going to be there. So why
All
don't we
right.
start there, and then after that we'll head to Ziggy's.
School library or city library?
Can we get into the school library right now?
You can try.
Let's try the city library. I'm pretty sure they'll still have the thing we're looking for. Or what do you... Sorry, Nathan, this was your idea.
I'm pretty sure we can talk our way in there.
Well, I'm going to follow up on Nathan then. I trust Nathan to handle this.
All right, I couldn't quite hear what Nathan said.
I think we should go to the school library.
All right. You okay with that, Tibbs?
Yeah.
All right. What time are you guys going to make the attempt to drop by?
Early afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the school, while Whispering Peaks High School has been shut down for the week following the disappearance of your class, uh, the three of you are somewhat surprised to find that the doors aren't locked. There are teaching and janitorial staff there. You are able to just walk in. No one seems to notice. It appears that a lot of students have been coming and going for one reason or another this week. The school library is on the first floor, right across from the faculty office. The three of you open the doors and head on in. The library is a large room that's filled with multiple bookshelves, impeccably organized by the Dewey Decimal System as well as genre. You're mildly surprised to see the school librarian is actually there. He's busy putting books back on the shelves and muttering under his breath. He is an older man in his mid-60s. He's got leathery brown skin and bright white hair, combed and slicked back perfectly. He's also wearing a green sweater vest with a matching tie.
Mr. Arthur, I'm sorry to bother you. Where are the yearbooks?
The librarian turns around at the sound of you three calling out to him. Uh, he looks briefly surprised until he catches a hold of himself. Oh, you three. We'd been informed by the police that you had uh, turned up. Still no leads on the rest of the class, I presume?
If they have, they
Not
haven't
until
told
we
us.
know.
Sorry.
He nods at Nathan. You can see on the desk behind him the little plaque for that shows his name as the head librarian. I don't know if any of you have had the occasion to come in here before, but this is uh, uh, Clarence Wolfe, Doctor of Library Sciences. Nathan, after his curiosity has been sated, he points out to where the yearbooks are kept on a back shelf. We have yearbooks going back to the founding of this school in 1964.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
All right.
All right, so you heading over to the yearbooks?
Yeah.
And we've got two things we're looking for. One, obviously, we go grab 1988, I believe it was.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
And I am going to grab the most recent ones and work my way back, flipping to the page that has the cheerleading team's group photo on it and check the uniforms and see how long ago it was until there was a different looking one to see what years this haunt can be from.
Okay, make me some research rolls. That's intelligence plus academics. For you, Nathan's just looking at the 1988 yearbook. Uh, that is not going to require a roll. It is a discrete book that is easily found.
I don't suppose that either of you guys would be willing to help me with that one.
Yeah, I can help.
I'm sorry, I've
Uh,
got 3 dice here.
not okay. You said it was intelligence and academics.
Yup.
Yes.
Sorry, C student here.
One success.
So that's one bonus point.
All right.
Well, one bonus die.
Well, let me see if I can't make it. This is kind of important to me because I don't have any other leads
You want
right
me to
now.
assist as well?
Up to you. I thought you were busy doing your thing, and I don't want to get in the way of that.
I mean, I don't think I have to make a roll for mine, right?
No, I'm not going to have you make a roll for finding the 1988 yearbook in a year shelf full of yearbooks, which are organized by year.
All right, so there's another additional success.
All right, so that's 3 plus 2. I'm just gonna go for it and throw a willpower on this, and in his name we pray. All right, 3 successes.
All right. Well, first we're going to handle what Nathan is looking for because that didn't require a roll. So the 1988 yearbook is easily found. It is somewhat newer looking than the other ones around it, but still definitely aged. When you open it up, it is a fairly stock standard yearbook. The only thing that stands out is on the first page there is a uh, text list that says in memoriam and shows about 20 names. The only other thing that catches your eye looking through this yearbook is on the page with the names. At the bottom, it says Whispering Peaks High Yearbook 1988, second edition.
Okay, so a second edition, not the first edition.
Okay.
Well,
And in regards to what Ty was looking for, cheerleading uniforms seem to change roughly every 4 years. But even going back through 20 years of yearbooks, you haven't seen a design quite like the Aggressives.
so either this is very old or this isn't a lead. Well, it was worth trying.
Okay. I got an idea. So I am going to see if
Sorry. No, I was waiting till you were done.
okay. I'm gonna see if I can go through the um get into like the library's catalog of newspapers, the digitalized ones, and see if I can find any articles referring to uh, a cheerleader uh, passing.
Thank you. Um, but before we do that, let's take a look at the thing we have found, because I am very curious about the in memoriam page in this book.
I start flipping through the pages to see if I can find Prom Queen.
It seems that there is absolutely no mention of the prom at all in the 1988 yearbook.
Well, I think we know what the difference between the first and second edition is. Um,
Yep.
so do we want to go see if the first one is still in the library system? They probably got a card catalog or one of those computerized equivalents, if I think is still called a card catalog, the little search things.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So let's traipse over to the computers.
So, Ethan, you also wanted to look through the newspaper articles. Now, if you want to do that, now would be the time. Research is intelligence plus academics, and that would apply to both of what you guys are doing.
Here.
Can I argue computers
You know what? I'll allow it.
or successes?
All right. And for the card catalog,
One
No.
success.
All right. Is that you assisting me?
No, that was me rolling on my own for the card
Okay.
catalog.
Uh,
okay. So the two of you break to do research on your own. What you find. Uh, Nathan looks in the card catalog and finds that there are roughly 100 copies of the 1988 uh, yearbook first edition that were made. And according to the card catalog, 97 of them are in the under the restricted section of the school library.
Okay, so I know someplace we've got to break into.
And uh, as for Ethan's research, you were looking at for newspaper articles. What were you looking for exactly?
Any anything talking about cheerleaders dying?
So you're not looking about anything in regarding 1988 then. Okay, that's no
Correct.
problem.
Sorry, I thought we were investigating two different things while we're here.
Unfortunately, you weren't able to find anything regarding a dead cheerleader.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So I think that if there either either this is a completely dead lead or we actually do know what happened to be aggressive. Because a cheerleader dying would be the kind of things that would make it in the news. And the school isn't that ancient. It's not been around since the fucking 1900s, I don't think. So the odds of this not
All
be...
I'll, I didn't
Sorry.
mean to interrupt you, but all I'm going to say without any further rolls is the absence of information is in and of itself information.
Because
So
I
it's not
know
a cheerleader, but it's someone who wanted to be a cheerleader.
alternately, it is a cheerleader, and we know when they died. We weren't the first ones to wake up, were we?
Nope.
Hold on, give me a sec.
Um, I go grab last year's yearbook and go check the cheerleading team for people who would now be in my year and start writing down names. I see if any of it gets a reaction out of Be Aggressive.
All right. Uh, Looking through the yearbook, cheerleaders in the senior year, there are only two prominent ones that you can find, Sarah Williams and Chloe Adams. Chloe Adams recently quit cheerleading about 3 months ago. She has since started a new club at school, the Paranormal Society.
Writing that down anyways. Chloe Adams was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sarah Williams, you remember, she was in your class.
Yeah, she was the one I believe that was saying was asked if she was going to be able to make it to was it nationals, I think it was.
Yeah.
The sick one, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's two leads, and one of them doesn't make any sense, because I don't think Chloe's dead either. Was Chloe on the bus?
Chloe, as per the yearbook, was in class B.
So, no.
No, this was for class A.
So, I think we figured out who Be Aggressive is. Or at least this is the best theory I've got.
Showing the yearbook photos to be aggressive doesn't seem to get much of a reaction. She does do her best to stare at them, or at least you think she is, considering she doesn't have any eyes. Uh, but after a few moments of looking over the cheerleaders in the yearbook, she seems to get bored and wander off.
Well, that's not promising, but she said she didn't remember anything. And I'm guessing speed running whatever Geist stuff is probably does not leave a lot behind. From everything that the Mad Undertaker told me, uh, you lose a lot of stuff becoming a Geist.
Okay, so are the computers like a little out of the way? Like, can we be seen by the librarian while we're sitting here?
Give me a quick chance die roll.
Excuse me.
The computers in the school library are directly visible from the librarian's desk.
Ha!
Currently, he isn't at the desk, though.
Well, good news. Uh, Even if he gets to be back at the desk, I have one thing I can be useful for in this scene. I am an enormous man.
Make a better door than a window.
I am making the best door right now.
Okay, so being doored off from wherever in the room the Mr. Wolf is, I'd like to try something. And I hold out the 1988 yearbook and I flip it open to a random page and I ask prom queen to see if she can like turn the page to the right one that she's on. See if she's in addition to it all.
Alrighty. So you page through it with the prom queen uh, carefully looking through all the photos to see if anything sparks a memory. By the time you close the book, she simply shakes her head and shrugs.
Okay, so they removed her entirely. That's fucked up.
Alternately, she can't remember. But either way, I've got a fix. So, Nathan, you strike me as a huge fucking nerd.
Yes.
Do you know where the restricted uh, section is?
Of course I do. The debate teacher lets me in there all the time.
Well, you remember how when we were going over all that stuff, we learned about a couple of the ceremonies that we can do?
Oh, yes.
One of them lets us make a key. Now, I should not go in there. I am enormous and very obvious. But I'm willing to bet that no one would look askance at you having just wandered in there. Or even you, Ethan. But me being in there presents a lot of questions, and so I will instead be out here to be distracting. A thing I can very easily be by being both large and, you know, not the brightest in a library. So why don't we find a place that doesn't appear to have direct cameras on it and see about performing a quick little ceremony? Um, I've got the key to my locker in my pocket for my locker at the gym. We can use that for this, and I'll just get that replaced. It's a couple of bucks.
Which ceremony are you guys going to perform?
It's skeleton key.
All right, give me a sec to look that up.
Let's see. So the thing about this is we haven't done any rituals yet before, other than the one that we performed kind of spontaneously. So we're going to have to figure out how to do this one in our style. They give an example of one, but we don't have to do it that way. For those of you playing at home, this is on page 129 of Geist the Sin Eater 2nd edition. Actually, would you guys like me to throw this up on the screen? I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go
Yes,
ahead and do
please.
that.
Uh, if this is a mess, I do apologize. First time for everything, I suppose. All right. My apologies. Just naturally, it's not liking what I'm doing here.
Alrighty.
No problem.
So,
All right. And fixed and looks pretty and everything. Okay.
Sorry about this, folks. We actually haven't had to show a rules block yet, but so we have so this
This should be up on the screen now.
yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
thank you everyone for your
Excellent.
patience. All right. So anyways,
all right. So you need some symbols and a ritual in order to do this. Though the ones mentioned in the book are a good jumping off point, but are not necessarily what you have to do. So how do you guys want to create this skeleton key? Explain to me the ritual the three of you are going through, and then as a group, you can roll resolve and investigation.
Okay. Well, let's think about it like this. We're trying to get into a room of secrets. So, all secrets. We're in a library. What we could use a dictionary.
I go right ahead.
What's up, Tibbs?
So, what what better way to symbolize the unlocking of uh, secret information than by creating a password? So on on a sticky note, we write we write down the username and the password that that is intended for access. Then from there, we post it on the thing that we are trying to access.
I like it, but we still need the physical key to get made in this, but I've got a good joke for it. So
Okay.
the joke behind a skeleton key is they were called that because they literally had most of the key missing, because they would just physically turn the end and not interact with all the rest of the tumblers. So how about part of it being physically damaging the key, breaking off the center or busting a couple of the teeth off, and perhaps to keep up the general spooky atmosphere, nicking someone on the broken tooth to get a little blood involved. That gives me something to do while you guys are working on this, and then we wrap it up in the password and let the blood soak through.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. If it sounds good to you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's a
All
vibe.
right. Which one of you is going to cut yourselves?
Yo.
take a point of bashing damage.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then as a group, you can roll resolve plus investigation.
All right, I'm gonna roll this down so you guys can see what the effect is a little bit better.
On a success, the key opens the first lock it's used on, uh, and it works until the skeleton key is destroyed.
So we will always have a door to the key to the door of the restricted section. What's really fun is this works even with doors that don't have like a key. It just still works. If it opens with a passcode or whatever, the key will still work.
Electronic locks, anything.
So we can
Oh, good. I'm really glad to hear that, Boyd.
Me too. We had an idea to do this since during Viva Las Vegas, we were reading them out. And once we got the okay from Onyx Path, uh, it seemed like it would just make things so much easier.
Unfortunately, I'm not supposed to leave them up forever, so I'm going to be swapping us back to the main thing. But
I will also note that the dice rolls window has not been moving.
really, okay, that's annoying. I'll go sort that out.
But I did get 2 successes.
And I got a single success.
So in that case, that means Ty is the one who's using those as help dice.
All right. And sorry, what was that die? I've been juggling things.
Resolve plus investigation, and you've got 3 bonus die.
All right. So, luckily I've got an okay resolve and 1 investigation. So, let's make that work. Two successes.
All right, success. All right, after Ethan writes down the password and sticks it to the door, and Ty breaks the key, bleeds on it, and wraps the key in the password note, uh, you can feel something shift in the key. It suddenly becomes extremely cold to the touch, but not cold enough to hurt you.
I toss it to Nathan. I need to go be extremely visible and obvious. See ya.
You should go talk to the librarian about that cut.
No, I don't want him coming back to his office for the first aid kit. I'm instead going to be extremely loud and present in the main room.
Okay.
Smart.
Ty licks the blood off of his finger, or kind of nonchalantly. These kind of injuries are so mundane for him, he doesn't even think about it. And he just puts on his gloves to make sure it's not too obvious to the layman. He's going to be hanging out in the main room, keeping an eye out for anyone heading back to the restricted section.
Alrighty, the door to the restricted section is to the left of the librarian's desk. So if the librarian is at his desk, he can see anyone who's coming and going. Currently, he is still reshelving books, but that might change at any minute. So, since you want to distract, what are you going to do to distract other than standing around being large?
Well, what I'm going to do is I know where he is reshelving books. So one, I'm going to place myself in a position that will block his view of that door from wherever he'd step out. And two, when he does step out, I'm going to have some extremely basic questions about trying to find books on both both college hockey and uh, a local colleges with hockey programs. Uh, Stuff that I would be expected to be interested in, and I am going to be extremely useless in explaining what I want and what I need and dragging out the process as much as I can. I'm going to fulfill every stereotype he has about the dumb jocks. This was a job I was born to do. My int one.
All right. Roll me a composure plus expression roll, please.
Could I talk you into socialize?
That makes sense to me.
Alrighty. 3 successes. Been a night for threes.
All right. So Ty goes and has a conversation with Mr. Wolf, pointedly keeping him facing away from the librarian's desk. Nathan, meanwhile, is able to easily unlock the restricted section and walk right in. This room is not huge. It looks like it was a converted broom closet and is full of random-looking books. Some of them appear to be books on subjects that you wouldn't normally expect to see in a school library, or other books are books on various academic topics that are controversial. The yearbooks don't immediately just spring to your eye. Make me a wits plus investigation roll, please.
You got it. Tibbs, are you helping?
I have another. I have a plan for something else that I want to do here.
Okay.
All right, then while Lex is making that roll, what do you want to do, Ethan?
Raise the boneyard.
Kva? Bring me along on this one.
So basically, with this, I'll be able to know who's in the in my boneyard, right? So I'll be able to keep track of anybody that's coming and going from the restricted books of the restricted area of the library.
Don't those only last for while you've got the thing up, though?
Let's see here. What is the what is the duration on this?
I would guess it'd be the boneyard condition back at the end. So, quick behind the music here, everybody. One of the few things we do not like about how Geist arranges its books is it puts all of the ways its basic stuff interacts and powers in a set of conditions on the other side of the book. And it does make it a little bit of a bear to figure out how some of the powers work.
I completely failed my roll.
Yeah, I noted that. You can roll again with a -1, but that's going to take time.
Okay.
Have you tried
How much time?
Uh, well, I mean, like, let's assume that each attempt to find them is about a minute.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm taking a look at the boneyard. The condition says that, well, the boneyard tilt ends when the creator leaves the area of the boneyard, falls unconscious or dies, or is confronted with their Geist's ban or bane.
Okay. So it doesn't do what I thought it did.
What are
Okay.
you trying to get it to do?
He was trying to set up a tracker here.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it can in fact do that, at least as long as you're here.
Yeah. But with it being such a small room, doesn't that's not all that useful.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is a library room with one guy in it.
Yeah. So instead, I will aid in the search, I
I
guess.
got two successes.
Oh, never mind.
All right. Nathan finds the yearbooks eventually. They are actually behind other books in the shell on the shelves, um, on a second layer of shelving. There are a large chunk of these, and they are down on the floor
Do
on the
any of
bottom
them
shelf.
do any of them look more used than any other?
Not particularly. While these definitely look old, they're damn near pristine.
All right, I grab one and I put it in my backpack behind the bulletproof plate.
Alrighty. So Nathan has acquired the first edition of the 1988 yearbook.
And I say unto thee, get the fuck out of there. I can only hold this guy for so long, and we can read this in a different room.
Tibbs, was there anything Ethan wanted to do? Anything that catches his eye?
Are there any books that or anything that jumps out at me as out of place or eye-catching or anything like that?
Mm,
Or any ghosts sitting around?
Yeah.
no, there aren't any ghosts in this library right now.
Huh.
And unfortunately, none of the books will pop out as being particularly unusual or particularly interesting.
Okay. In that case, I will move on.
All right, so the three of you are going to leave the library.
Yep.
All right, where are you heading?
Uh, why don't we head
Go ahead.
Why don't we head over by the old school building, the place that we got the prom queen out of? We're not going inside, just over there. I don't think anyone's going to disturb us while we're there, and we can take a quick look through what's different about this copy.
All right, so over to the old
Um,
gym.
on the way out of the library, I legitimately check out the 1988 yearbook edition too.
All right. Mr. Wolf raises an eyebrow as you check it out, but doesn't really kick up any fuss. Uh, as you're heading out with it, uh, you can hear him kind of mumbling under his breath. I can see why these three would be interested in that.
Okay.
So,
So
good
we're heading to
news.
the old school building?
So, okay, so the three of you are going to go head out to the old gym, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you head out into the snow and find yourselves back by the old gym building that the prom queen was trapped in.
Uh, since we're here, while these two are doing a bit of reading, I'm going to go snap whatever bindings were holding prom queen in through the door, just on general principle. I believe you said they were just like rosary beads.
Yeah, they were rosary beads that were wrapped around the chains that were locked on the door.
My 3 strength score and my 2 in brawl or 5 in athletics say that those don't matter.
Yeah, I'm not going to have you roll to pop some rosary beads. If you were breaking the chain, then I would have you roll.
I would be terrified if you made him roll to break the rosary. That would be funny as hell.
Regardless, just on general principle, if this was keeping a ghost in there, if somebody else is stuck in there, I'd prefer they get out and be able to deal with them rather than having a pressure cooker of spirit tool nature going on forever. At least that makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, why don't you guys go play compare the 2 books?
All right. So, looking through the yearbook, the first edition of the 1988 yearbook is notably thicker than the second edition. It looks to have about roughly 20 more pages.
I start flipping through them.
The in memoriam page is there. And as you look through it, you also see the occasional picture of a student that wasn't in the first one. But the real big differences that you can see. Number one, there is a section about prom preparations, but no section about the prom itself, at least not until you get to the back. When you get to the back, you run into about 5 pages that are black. They have the typeface in them is white, and there are some grainy photos on here. As you read through what it says, you can this is what you see. So it looks like the prom didn't go how anybody planned. So I know that they're going to remove this edition of the yearbook. But they can't stop me from getting the truth out. The newspaper didn't cover everything. When you go down the page, you see that the grainy photos appear to be photos of the gym. There are a handful of photos that look like they were taken during the prom from inside the gym. You can see, crappy paper decorations around, kids in, students in their prom dresses and suits. But after the first 5, what you see is what appears to be crime scene photos. There is a photo of what looks like a dozen bodies stacked up against the wall, and another photo showing a literal bucket of human blood that was used with a mop to create a large circle in the middle of the floor. There is a body in the middle of the floor wearing a prom queen sash, but the body isn't in focus in this photo. You do also notice what appears to be a knife sticking out of the prom queen's stomach. The next photo that you see is a direct overhead photo of the prom queen's body. It looks like she was stabbed in the stomach, and then the knife was cut down through her midsection, with the insides removed and the knife left in. the writing goes on as you read. The prom night massacre was more than just some senseless killing. The murderer had intent. I don't know what he was up to, but I'm going to find out. And it's signed as Myrtle Flynn, editor, Whispering Peaks High Yearbook Committee.
Myrtle's picture is in the yearbook somewhere, right?
You would think so.
It's not, is it?
I didn't say that. I just said you would think so. You need to look if you want to find it.
Uh,
Give
uh,
give me wits plus investigation.
is anyone got it better than a 4 on that one?
I've got a 5.
Well, would you like me to help you out,
Yeah.
Nathan? It's not a lot of dice, but I do have a certain amount of animal cunning. All right. Ty makes a gentle recommendation to look around the appendix because this kind of person would probably make one, and to the tune of 2 successes.
All right, Tibbs, are you
All right.
assisting?
No, I'm not throwing a luck die on here.
Valid. All right, so I've got a pool of 7. Exceptional success.
All right. Bear with me just a moment. All right. Uh, looking up the name Myrtle Flynn in the yearbook, you eventually find her. Um, there's a picture of a young woman with a Cleopatra bob cut, the kind that's shorter in the back and comes down around like this. She's wearing black lipstick and purple eyeshadow, as well as a tank top underneath a fishnet shirt. She is scowling at the camera as if she hates it.
Okay. And there's no mention of the prom royalty by name or anything in the bits on the prom.
Bear with me just a moment here.
So we've got her picture, which means we know what class she's in. By the date of it, we can figure out how old they are roughly. That should give us plenty of information to find this individual if we want to go ask them directly about what they found out. That seems like a pretty solid lead. The other is, of course, breaking into the police station, getting down into the evidence lockup, breaking into the section past that for cold case files, and digging up, depending on what they have, the autopsy, any reports, and of course maybe that knife. But that's a bit more long term. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel like getting shot today. Maybe get a little more ghost power first.
All right. Oh, go on.
I doubt anything from a murder in '88 will still be in evidence.
As I said, probably it's just going to be files in the cold cases, but they don't throw away old data. It'd be fun if they had the knife, though.
So, looking through the prom section, you eventually find the area on the prom king and queen. Uh, there you find her, looking exactly as she looks in ghostly form, under the name Josie McElroy.
We have a name, everybody.
The prom queen manifests behind your shoulder, looking over the yearbook. The way she bites her lip, you're uncertain whether she is happy or not. You notice one of her left eye begin to twitch.
I cover the crime scene photos with my hands as best I can.
Bear with me just a moment here.
All right. Well, that's two of us with a name. Hey, Ethan.
Yeah.
Next set of day actions. Uh, wanna go to the gym with me? I can teach you how to do a first workout. Scope out the place.
Let's see how things go.
Fair enough.
Bear with me just a moment. I'm having to take a look at the systems for the remembrance.
Well, let's babble while he's reading stuff. So here's what we know so far. We have what I think is a compelling theory about who Be Aggressive is, even if it's not turned up anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to be real with you. If there's no record of a cheerleader dying in a place that records its murders as sensationally as this, especially, let's be real straightforward here, an attractive teenager dying, not making the paper, seems unlikely. But we do know when some cheerleaders died, and we've got a decent lead that sounds at least interesting for why they might have stayed on. Um, Once the news gets out, I think I might just go by and visit their house, get my condolences, and get her parents talking. I'm sure they'd need a sympathetic ear, and I would have known them through my time in sports. And if they want to be angry at somebody for surviving when their kid didn't, well, I can fucking take it.
Yeah.
People used to throw pucks at me at a little too many miles per hour all day. I can take a couple of angry shouts and maybe a couple of dad-sized fists.
Okay.
What are they going to do? Kill me?
I mean,
Alrighty. So I was
maybe.
just looking to see if there was an additional system for resolving a remembrance scene. There is not, and good news. I also just double checked, and while the prom queen is not exactly happy about seeing her dead body, it is not enough to trigger a crisis point in which she would go bug nuts crazy.
Oh, good.
Uh, this remembrance scene has given you a dot of synergy, and you will be getting a second remembrance trait.
Woo! So, for those of you playing at home, remembrances remembrance traits are cool things the ghost could do, either as a ghost or in life, that they let Geist can do either as a ghost or in life, and they get shared with us when we become the Sin Eater together. Um, as we figure out more about their life and track down the things that happen to them, they get more of these traits that we can have, and they also gain synergy with us, so they cooperate more and can communicate more easily.
I am now at Synergy 2.
Alrighty, and we'll talk about your second remembrance trait later. But it can be like a skill or a merit or something like that. After Nathan closes the book, the prom queen coughs with some dust being ejected from her nose and mouth, and she hoarsely croaks, "Can I see it again?"
I show it to her again.
She stares at the crime scene photos. Her eye twitches, and you can see that her skin seems to be tightening around her skull. Uh, it's like she's mummifying in fast motion. She's grinding her teeth together angrily. And then when she's done, she simply nods and takes a deep breath, or at least mimics the motion of it, before returning to normal.
We'll find who did it.
"Thank you," she croaks.
So, um, we've got a name and an age, and nobody ever leaves Whispering Peaks. So we're either going to be able to find this person or we're going to be able to figure out what happened to them. Nobody leaves Whispering Peaks, except in a casket.
Perhaps not even then.
Apparently not. So,
All right. I
on
think
that
this scene is good and... Oh, sorry about that. Go on.
and on that bright and cheery note, why don't we pack all of our things up and head over to catch the next bus on Ziggy's haunted tour?
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. I'll be right back.
All right.
And when I'm back, we'll do change scene.
Let's begin the intermission.
I'm really looking forward to this ghost tour.
Should be interesting.
What is chat thinking so far?
Well, it looks like it's a little quiet. That's okay.
Oh, good. That graphic fits perfectly.
Yup. Thank you very much. So, here's the plan from here.
Okay.
Soon enough, someone is going to figure out what happened to the rest of our class. And at that point, we go from being a dramatic group of kids coming back from an event that nobody knows very much about to the most recent victims of a serial killer here in Whispering Peaks. Or a spree killer. I don't know how you'd classify this dude, but yet another thing in the history of Whispering Peaks that will be getting covered by this tour. However, if this guy is not full of shit, and I mean the first thing they do is walk through a pothole that legitimately has a ghost in it, I'm gonna guess that we're gonna get some actual leads on ghosts here. We might meet other Geists. We might find some really good haunted places we can interact with. Maybe even, gosh, what is the thing? Tibbs, help me out here. The objects that give you access to keys, the magic objects in this thing. My brain is just
The was it the memories or
Mementos.
mementos.
mementos?
We might find a place that has some mementos stashed in it. Could be anything. So I figure let's go grab the giant box of plot hooks before getting on the bus is just going to have us stared at by every single person on the bus and prevent us from getting an actual experience of the ride.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, the intermission screen can come down.
Yep. Sorry. All right, we're live and on the air.
All right, folks. So, you want to go take the ghost tour, huh?
Yes, let's go say hi to Ziggy.
All right, you head back over to where the Scream Shack is, across the street from the Museum of Mayhem. Uh, it's a large three-story building that has been artificially made to look like an old rundown haunted house, the sort of that you would see in like a movie or TV show. It's clear that this is kayfabe. Behind that, it's actually a very well-built modernist cinder block building. Uh, uh, the sign out front uh, declares it in neon colors to be the Ripley Museum of Murder and Mayhem, otherwise just known as the Museum of Mayhem around town. Uh, it's getting dark, so since it's the Halloween season, tours are happening twice daily. Once at dusk, and once after it gets dark, and once at midnight.
Well, we should be able to catch the dusk one then. Um, why don't we go inside and see if anything pings on the supernatural radar and get our tickets? Wouldn't it be funny if that building was haunted? Like,
Yes.
the fake haunted building being actually haunted? That would be genuinely great.
I
Are
think it
we?
would be funnier if it was the only building in town that wasn't haunted.
I mean, good point.
I mean, there's a pothole ghost that we can talk to or try to at least.
Actually, we might want to have somebody do that before the bus goes through. So, does somebody want to try and talk to the pothole ghost? All the rest of us go check the inside and get tickets?
Yeah. Or-
Nathan, sounds like you got this.
Yeah.
Or Ethan can.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. This is your bit.
Okay.
You're the top.
So yes, I'll go talk to the pothole ghost.
All right. So first, we'll have the other two go on inside.
Sure.
So first off, have any of you three actually been to the Museum of Mayhem?
Yes. But I was not paying any attention whatsoever because I was getting dragged along by a bunch of dudes doing the old trick of trying to scare the girls on the date they're with.
What about you, Ethan? Have you been here?
I have not. My parents thought it was gauche and insisted that I never go there.
Nathan has not. He's been too busy getting ready for college and debates.
Alrighty. So first, we'll go with the two that went inside. Inside, the building is quite nice and quite spacious. It looks like it's been built very recently. Uh, as far as you can remember, this actually opened up not that long ago, maybe 5 or 6 years. So it looks like it was a new build. There are, however, fake cobwebs everywhere, as well as a Halloween-style spooky ambient noise track playing. Going inside out front, Uh, you find yourselves in front of the receptionist desk. The desk is covered in various papers, uh, the cash register, um, about a dozen different kinds of pamphlets hanging in a rack, and behind it sits a old lady with glasses and her hair done up in a bun. She's wearing a cardigan and a ankle-length skirt and a purple windbreaker over it with the museum's logo on the back. She gives you a nice smile as you show up. Oh, hello, dearies, she says. You two looking for tickets?
Yes, please. The dusk tour?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, please. The tour at dusk?
Ah, the ghost tour. And she smiles and says, my boy is going to be giving one in about 20 minutes. So if you're looking for tickets, I can do you for. It's $15 each.
Three, please. I reach into my pocket and have a brief discussion with Ethan as we scramble together the cash between us, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I'm willing to bet that I've got 20 bucks in my pocket.
All right. So the two of you put the cash together and hand it over to the receptionist. Uh, she smiles at you and hands you your tickets and says, "It's the Halloween season, so we're running a promotion. You also, with a ticket to the ghost tour, you also get a uh, day pass for the museum. We're going to be closing soon, but if you want to come back and have a look around, uh, there's three passes included."
Thank you. I'll be sure to do that.
She smiles and says, "Of course, we've got a lot of festivities planned for Halloween. You know how it is this time of year. The whole town gets excited." So
alrighty.
outside, Nathan approaches the pothole. Sitting in the pothole is a ghost. He's an indistinct figure. It's he's looks sort of like if you could shove fog into a humanoid form. You can't make out any facial features, just a pair of eyes in the translucent blue face and the cloudy outline of a pair of overalls. He's sitting in the pothole, poking idly at some ghostly blades of grass around it.
Hello.
He looks up at you and goes, "Oh, hi." It's not often anyone actually says anything to me. Usually they just stand in me.
That must get old real quick.
Very, very old. He heaves a theatrical sigh and continues picking at the blades of grass.
My name is Nathan Cartwright. What's yours?
He, uh, the ghost scrunches up his eyes as best as you can see, like he's thinking. I think they all just call me the pothole ghost. At least the guy who gives the tour, that's what I think he says. It's kind of hard to hear.
Yep, that's what they call you. I just wasn't sure if you had another name that you preferred to go by.
He shrugs and says, I'm sure I did once, but I don't remember. There's only one thing I actually know,
What's that?
and it's that I'm anchored to this pothole by something in the pavement underneath.
Like something's buried there?
He shrugs and says, I think so. It must have belonged to me, I would assume. If I leave the pothole, uh, my ghostly essence starts to burn off. So I just sit here.
Oh, well, hmm. I wonder what I can do about that. If I was able to get this thing, would you want to go somewhere else? What's up, Jeff?
Uh, Mechanical note, you just picked up Synergy too. So you now have an aura that Ghost can hang out in.
Ooh.
That is true. Your
And
liminal aura.
and you would know that because you had Geist 101. Between that and the thing I had with the Mad Undertaker, and I assume we compared notes, you might actually know that you can anchor ghosts after making a bit more of a connection. So it could be something you could at least try.
It's a really good idea. So,
Give,
go ahead, Ken.
give me just a second. I'm looking up the table for it.
Sorry to
Hey,
interrupt.
Jeff, would you toss up the liminal aura page, section up on the uh, screen?
Absolutely. Could
So
you
that
tell me what page it's on?
it is on page 99.
Thank you. Sorry, there's a lot of book here, and I'm trying to not have too many things going on. All right. Liminal aura. Okay.
There we go. I was looking for the article. It's under synergy effects. So at uh, synergy 2, the liminal aura gains the anchor condition.
And sorry, is this on the page 99 area? I'm not seeing useful.
No, that just explains what a liminal aura is to the audience.
Okay. Got it. Doing that now. I promise you guys I'm going to get at slicker at this eventually. But we appreciate
We're
y'all
learning.
being real patient with us and especially me, the person who keeps making mistakes. There we go. So, quick notes. The fact that we've got this aura means that other sin eaters, ghosts, and ephemeral entities with death-related stuff can tell who we are immediately because of this thing. Um, it creates the persistent manifestation condition, which I don't know off the top of my head, and we can boost the level of this condition by 1 with a willpower.
That's what they mean. It creates a persistent condition related to the manifestation. At 2, it creates the anchored condition. The subject of this condition, usually a location or object, though it can be a person in rare cases, such as, say, being a sin eater, is within the sphere of influence of a ghost. Ghosts in or within rank times 3 yards of their anchors do not suffer essence bleed. Essence bleed, for those of us playing along at home, is what happens when a ghost gets too far away from their anchors. They bleed away some of their ghostly essence until they lose it all and demanifest.
All right.
So yes, you would know that you now have a high enough synergy with the prom queen that you have a persistent anchor condition.
Okay. So I look at the pothole ghost, and this whole plan forms in my mind. But a plan is no good if you don't test it first. And so I hold out my hand to him, and I'm like, okay, I'd like to hypothesize a thing. I believe you should be able to leave this sphere without suffering the deleterious effects of it if you're near me. Would you mind trying? If
The
only to
pothole
stretch your legs.
the pothole ghost looks up and cocks his head. I knew something was different with you. It feels warmer when I'm near you, and I can see you clearly. The pothole ghost stands up and says, okay, I'm willing to give it a try. Jeff, if you'll go down just a little bit, you can see the area of the Sin Eater's aura. Would you scroll down?
I believe I have. Sorry, we're on a
There it
slight
is.
delay.
The Sin Eater's aura extends 10 times synergy yards around the Sin Eater. So that means your aura is 20 yards across with you at the center, Nathan.
Okay. All right. So
So he can take the ghost tour if he wants.
yeah, actually, you can come along with us if you want. You just have to stay within 20 yards of me.
The pothole ghost gets up and steps out of his pothole. He takes several careful steps to the side. You think you have an idea around where his normal border is, because about 3 feet away from the pothole, he takes a very judicious step to the side. And then starts to laugh. This is the farthest I've been from that pothole in I don't know how many years. He walks around. Look at me. I'm walking on the street like a mortal.
That's great. Do you know how long you've been here?
The pothole ghost turns back around. Again, you notice just how indistinct and foggy he is. Like someone took a cloud and shaped it into a humanoid figure. Not really. I remember that once this road was brick, and then it was paved, and then they opened that building over there sometime after that, and that's about it. I'm guessing some number of years.
I'm sure we'll hear in the tour. What do you think about all day?
Nothing much. She looks around. Sometimes I count the cracks in the sidewalk. Other times I watch the clouds. Sometimes I just people watch. I can't really see the people very clearly. It's hard to hear them talk, but it's a lot easier to see you and talk to you. Why is that?
That's because I died too. Nathan realizes belatedly what he has said and looks around to make sure no one is listening.
Currently, there is no one around until the other two arrive.
I see that you've made a friend.
Yes, this is the pothole ghost.
Lovely to meet you, and looks like you figured out the trick for helping ghosts move around then. I remember us talking about that. Boy, Ziggy's gonna be real upset that his party trick doesn't work.
I can see and hear you two clearly too, and
Same.
you're right. If I move away from the pothole, then it won't be cold anymore. Is it really okay?
I think as long as you stay close to us, you should be fine. Well, me.
I haven't figured out the trick yet, but we're working on it, and soon enough you can move around with us. Um,
But but if the other people stand in the pothole and it doesn't get cold, won't they be disappointed?
well, you can stand there tonight for this one, and then you said there was something buried under the pothole that was what you were bound to, right?
I think it must be. Every time I get too far away from the pothole, I start to burn up. And then when I'm done burning up, I wake up sometime later in whatever's down there. It's under the pavement, I know that much. And then when I manifest, I'm back here in the pothole.
So, well, you can stay here for the show, and then you can come with us along on the tour. Stretch your legs. And if you ever want to step away, I mean, we can stop by and give you a chance to go around with us. Can't get in the way
Okay,
of your showbiz career.
it, okay. I would really like to see what else is going on in this town. This place is kind of familiar. I think I might have lived here.
That's really cool. Well, if you remember anything while we're taking the tour, just let us know. But yeah, just come along with us. Just when the line comes out, would you mind doing your usual bit? I'm sure Ziggy would be sad if he missed his opportunity.
No problem. So, about 10 minutes later, uh, Ziggy comes out leading a group of about 20 tourists. Ziggy is in his mid 30s. He's got a scruffy beard that hasn't really grown to any length. It looks like he simply hasn't shaved his 5 o'clock shadow for long enough that it's actually grown out. Um, his eyes are half lidded, and he's wearing a backwards hat and has his hands jammed into the pockets of his purple windbreaker with the museum's logo on it. He sees you three and gives you a grin. So, you three going on the tour? Got your tickets?
I wave them in my genuinely enormous hand.
Oh, I know you from the high school hockey team. Not often we get locals taking the tour.
Felt like something to do.
I have to admit, I'm kind of hoping for an afterlife, or proof of an afterlife after everything that's happened.
Well, if you're wanting to hear about the afterlife, you're in the right place. So he turns around to the group of the tour group and says, "So, folks, let's get started with the least interesting site on our tour, the haunted pothole." Uh, you can hear the tourists already grumbling, and he says, "Look, I know, It's not all that interesting, but it's directly in front of the museum. We'll be seeing the good stuff soon, but I can prove the pothole's haunted. The temperature actually drops about 10 degrees if you're standing in there. Go ahead, give it a shot. You see the pothole ghost stand up and puff out his chest with some amount of pride as one by one the tourists file through him.
I walk
As
through.
they
Sorry, you go on.
as they go through, uh, they immediately change their mind, going from grumbling in annoyance to silent disbelief.
I walk through after the line, raising a hand to basically give a somewhat awkward high five as I walk through the specter.
I refuse to walk through the pothole.
Am I able to give him some plasma?
Plasm.
Plasm.
Plasm?
It does convert to essence, but he doesn't suffer essence bleed as long as he's in your aura, so he's fine.
All right.
I mean, you could give it to him if you want, but he doesn't need any.
And also creating a bunch of mysterious goo in front of a bunch of strangers and then having that disappear in the air might look a little weird.
That's right. I forgot that it was it physically manifests.
Yup.
So as the tourists get their fill of the pothole, Ziggy shows them to the bus. The bus is just as purple as his jacket and covered in uh, painted on Halloween decorations with the Ripley Museum of Murder and Mayhem logo on the side. So, kids, time to go, he says to the three of you, laughing softly to himself as he gets into the driver's seat.
I,
Do you
I
think it's exploitative to the ghost that you're doing this?
Are you talking to Ziggy or the pothole ghost?
Ziggy.
Ziggy shrugs and goes, I don't know. Being a ghost sounds boring to me. The pothole ghost nods his assent. It is very boring.
come on,
Fair enough.
let's get going. I gesture to the ghost, waving him to come along with us, and I leave a seat using the power of being genuinely enormous next to me for him to take up as he follows us.
Okay, folks, says Ziggy excitedly to the group of tourists. The, we're going to go through the hits. We're going to 4 of the 6 locations in town that were the site of serial murders. The group begins to ooh and ah. He says, "Yep, they're all haunted as stuff too." The first one's actually a few blocks over. It is a nightclub that gosh, someone bought it. I don't know what they're calling it now, but it was called the Strangled Cat. In the summer of 1973, there was an event that they called the Disco Murders, where someone brought a rifle into the club and shot everyone there. They say that the place is haunted by the patrons to this day. As the bus pulls away, he continues going on about the disco murders, giving various trivia about the crime.
I
He does mention that this is one of the few serial murders that happened in town in which the killer was actually caught.
I took a photo of the place he pointed out.
I can't hear you.
I took a photo of the place he pointed out and make sure that we've got somebody taking notes.
Uh, he pulls up to along the side into the parking lot of a nightclub. Uh, this place doesn't look like it's open for business just yet. But there are a few places here and there where plastic sheeting are covering things, places on the wall. There are no contractors or construction workers here, uh, but the place does look like it's been getting the finishing touches in the remodeling. Um, a sign lit by two pink and red lights declares the building to be the Red Room.
Okay, for those of you playing at home, who might not have joined us on previous runs, the Red Room is been following us throughout several games before, and is a franchise of nightclubs run by a vampire that we are very fond of.
Whose name is Disco Dan.
Dan Draven, everybody. He's still alive.
I don't know if the audience needs to know about our inside jokes, but sure. Maybe they'll find it entertaining.
I'm
I
just
hope you guys
explaining
do.
why we all broke out in laughter when you said the Red Room.
Fair enough. So Ziggy looks up at the new sign and says, "Oh, so that's what they called it. Back in '73, it was called the Strangled Cat."
That's an objectively terrible name.
Well, it didn't work out for him.
The crowd begins taking some photos, and Ziggy waggles his eyebrows and says, "And folks, we've got a deal with the guy who bought this place. We can go inside." So he knocks at the door, and after a few minutes, uh, the uh, the door is open by a huge, dark-skinned man, bald and serious looking. He's wearing a black T-shirt with the Red Room logo on it, and the first thing that strikes you about him is that he is significantly taller than Ty.
It is deeply strange for me to ever meet a man taller than me, and I am dutifully impressed.
He looks to be nearly 8 feet tall. "Oh, it's you, Mr. Holloway. Well, of course, the sun's down. Uh, Time for your tour?" "Yep, Matt," he says, waggling his eyebrows around again. "Let's see the dance floor and the stage." Matt shrugs. "It's Matthias. Don't call me Matt. Mr. Holloway." He steps inside and waves at the group to follow. Matthias clears his throat and says, "I don't know anything about this place, so I'm just going to walk you around to make sure everyone keeps themselves to themselves. Ziggy, you handle your own tour." So Ziggy continues talking about the building and its history. When you get to the dance floor, he waves his hands around and says, "This is where they found all the bodies, 30 victims, They say the killer was shot and died right here, he says, pointing at a random spot on the carpet.
Do we see any ghosts?
Looking around, uh, two things catch your eye. You see a small crowd of ghosts, actually, standing around near what looks like the entrance to the back office. And on stage, you see a single solitary ghost standing there. He's unlike the pothole ghost, this one is much more distinct. He's wearing a ripped pair of jeans and a vest uh, over a long sleeve jacket. He has a guitar slung over him, which he is not currently playing, but simply holding. And he has a mohawk and a hole in his forehead. He definitely doesn't look like he was alive in the 70s.
So I point directly at him and ask Ziggy, who died up there?
Ziggy looks at you and goes, "What? Died on stage?"
Yeah.
Well, he racks his brain. Well, it wasn't big news, but there was a musician murdered during a set here in the 80s.
Hmm.
Some punk. I'm sorry, I don't really know the name. It didn't make a big news, but Old Man Ripley definitely made me learn about just about every crime that's ever happened in this city.
Thank you. I take a look over in the crowd and make notes to come back here again. I offer a hand to Matthias and say, and vaguely thank him for letting us come in and see the place.
All right. As the group of you turn to leave, you notice one last thing. The door to the back office opens, and a young man who looks not much older than Ziggy walks out and goes upstairs. The ghosts who are standing outside the door fall behind him and follow.
What's
Ziggy, the,
upstairs?
Ziggy shrugs and says, "I don't know. They just put in the upstairs this year. I think it's going to be like VIP rooms and lounges. Since it's new building, it doesn't really have any relevance to the tour. But I know a place that you guys are going to love to see. We're going to hit up the Old Town Theater next."
Okay. Just as a side note, how has the pothole ghost been keeping up?
He hasn't seemed to have had much trouble following along behind you. He's gawking at everything in open-mouthed shock.
I don't think we should expect much out of him, but I'm glad he's enjoying the tour.
I just wanted to make sure he hadn't fallen behind or anything.
Yeah, don't want him to demanifest just because we aren't paying attention.
Uh, when you mention this to the pothole ghost surreptitiously, he tells you that he has been very careful to stay within your aura. He has briefly burned himself by getting outside of your aura, and now knows exactly where the line is.
Excellent.
So the group files back onto the bus, and he takes the group several streets over. to uh, a large building, a movie theater. Um, it's an old one. It has a big marquee, uh, the old type where you would have to physically have someone put the letters on. Currently, it says Halloween Movie Fest starts October 20th. Ziggy stops and everyone files out and says, "So this is the Old Town Theater. These days, it's kind of our second run theater, showing old movies and stuff like that. But back in the day, it was a playhouse, believe it or not. And then in the 30s, when movies were just getting big, it became the town's first movie theater. It was actually the site of one of the largest serial murders in one of the largest murders in Whispering Peaks. During 1932, there was an event called the Hollywood Gassing, where during a airing of Zorro, uh, lethal gas was pumped in from the outside, killing everyone in the theater. The gasser was never found. He takes the group inside. You file past a notice board covered in various posters uh, as he shows you around the building. This building appears to be have been preserved in excellent condition. Uh, it's got plush red velvet like a classic movie theater, marble flooring, and the actual theaters themselves are full of big, spacious chairs. Currently, nobody's there and no movies are playing. The group is let in by the janitorial staff. Ziggy continues to explain about the Hollywood gassing as he takes the group through the building.
Okay. Um, are there? I hate to be repetitive, but are there any ghosts here?
You guys do see sitting in the front row the ghost of what appears to be a young boy, probably somewhere around 10. Uh, he's simply kind of staring down at the floor. Uh, every so often, he impatiently looks up at the screen to see if anything's playing, and then looks back down at the floor as he taps his fingers on the chair arm.
You know, of all the places to end up haunting, this seems like a pretty ideal one as far as the boredom issue goes.
Yeah, definitely.
The pothole ghost is looking up at the at the screen. Wow, I'm jealous. I remember something. I think I saw something here. Space War?
Star
Something
Wars?
like
Star
that?
Wars?
That one. Yeah, with the blonde kid.
Yeah.
I heard they were going to make a sequel. Hmm. I can't remember anything else. He mumbles.
It was pretty good. We'll show it to you sometime.
That sounds a lot more fun than sitting in a pothole.
I go down to talk to the kid ghost. Are we allowed to wander?
Ziggy doesn't seem to be paying much attention. Tourists are wandering everywhere, taking pictures as he gives his spiel at high volume.
I am making sure that at least one of us is paying attention to the whole spiel and writing it down.
Yeah, I've been taking notes pretty diligently this entire time.
Actually, this is a kid, and Nathan is both autistic and has a 0 empathy score. Can one of you guys talk to this kid?
I can talk to him. I actually have a pretty decent empathy score.
So you take up the note taking with on the Hollywood gassings, and Ethan can go chat to the kid.
Yeah.
Yep. So I I I pass my notebook over to Nathan and go down and sit down next to the kid.
I continue dumbly taking photographs.
The young ghost looks at Ethan uh, without much surprise. Oh, hey, mister. You're one of them, huh? It's been a while since I saw one of the living dead.
Yeah, it's kind of new to it.
Meathead manifests and gives the boy a wave. The boy waves back, completely unperturbed. He leans back in his chair and says, "Do you know when the breathers are getting out of here?"
Shouldn't be too long. We're just passing through.
Good, he says. That means the midnight movies can start soon.
Midnight movies. Yeah, what kind of movies do they show at midnight?
Well, the better ones are shown when the breathers are running them, yeah, but uh the other ghosts like to show movies here too. And they got some good ones occasionally,
Yeah.
but I think they're old movies now, because the ones that the breathers show have better effects.
Mm-hmm.
Some of
Okay.
the midnight movies the other ghosts show are in black and white, and some of them still don't have sound.
Oh, that's that's really interesting. So, is it the same ghost that put it on each time, or are there different ones that do it?
Oh yeah, it's the projectionist, he says, pointing at the booth above.
Okay. How about this? How about I come back in a few nights, and I'll sit here and watch one of the midnight movies with you.
He seems to think about it. And then he says, "Well, as long as you don't take a seat from an honest ghost, there's not a lot of entertainment around here for those of us who ain't breathing."
I'm I'm comfortable sitting on the floor.
Good. He snorts and says, "I know that we can sort of float and stuff, but it's nice to actually have somewhere to sit without a breather trying to sit on you."
Yeah, I get you. I'll see if I can sneak some jujubes in for you.
The kid's eyes light up. You get a good look at him since he's sitting up fully now. Um, he's wearing a well pressed pair of suede pants, along with a long sleeved cotton shirt, and a black vest and a newsboy cap. If you had to take a wild guess, you'd think he's probably been here since the 30s.
Am I overhearing any of this conversation?
I
Uh, sure.
I I imagine that that I'm trying to keep it down at least a little bit so that it doesn't seem like I'm being weird and talking to myself.
Ah, yeah, that's probably a good point. But you might be able to hear the ghost boy. He is in no way trying to modulate his voice.
Well, I just realized I've got grave goods kicking around, and it seems deeply funny for me to be able to pull out like uh, uh, a thing of ghost snacks that maybe got picked up in the recent rovings of our dear friend Be Aggressive.
All right, would you like to make use of it?
If that's all right. We're on a public relations tour, guys. We got to make some friends.
Yep.
Be Aggressive has manifested and is sniffing around the building. Um, she is looking at the bulletin board with real intent, like she's trying her best to read it, but can't quite. When you go over to ask her for something, she sticks her arm into her mouth, rummaging around somewhere in her chest cavity until she pulls out a handful of spectral candy bars.
Thank you, Be Aggressive. And I lean in and carefully read everything on the bulletin board that she was looking at.
She points out what she was looking at to you. There is a flyer on the bulletin board for the Halloween Movie Fest. Um, it has a picture of a white cartoon cat kicking what appears to be a ninja in the face. It says, in association with Ripley's Museum of Murder and Mayhem and the Whispering Peak Tourism Board, Casper the Kung Fu Cat will be performing at the Halloween Movie Fest live on October the 23rd.
October the 23rd.
She looks back at the cat and then looks back at you, cocks her head, and says, Eat?
We'll talk. Um, Having assuaged her curiosity, I bring the candy bars and toss them over to Ethan as surreptitiously as I can throw an invisible pile of objects to another person.
Yeah, I I pick them up and walk back over to the ghost and or to the boy and hand one to him.
Oh, wow, mister. You living dead are all right.
Okay. So, how about I got another one here for you. But I want you to do something for me.
Yeah?
See these other ones? Hand them out to your best friends.
His eyes light up. Oh, I'll be sure to tell everyone who comes in for the midnight movie.
Okay. Yeah, we're we're trying to make friends ourselves, so I appreciate the help.
Oh, so you're smart, huh?
I try to be.
Well, says the ghost of the little boy, his legs swinging as he opens a ghostly candy bar, uh, takes a big bite, and then, after thinking better of it, decides to eat the wrapper as well. Hey, you might laugh, but it ain't so easy when you're not living and just dead. I keep my essence up as best I can, but taking it from some other ghost, especially a ghost of a candy bar, I'm not wasting a drop.
I
Tibbs, you should see if you can keep one for the pothole ghost too.
uh and yeah, I take I I I have one set aside. I hand it to the boy. I'm like, all right, we brought a friend with us. You want to come? Let's go over and see if we can make you a new friend too.
The ghost boy stands up. Uh, I'm lucky, he says. I haunt the whole theater, so I can go see any movie I want. Uh, he follows you along to where the pothole ghost is continually gawping at everything around him.
So, um, I get his attention real quick, and then prod the kid to go give it to him.
The kid smiles and heads over to the pothole ghost. Now you look like a man who's had his very essence eaten away at by the ether. Yeah, says the pothole ghost. He looks at his hand. I think I had fingerprints once. Well, maybe shoring up your essence is just what you need, big guy. It'll put hair on your head and a mouth on your face. That'll be a nickel, please. The pothole ghost uh, hurriedly scrabbles at his overalls until the kid laughs, it's just joking, and hands him the candy bar. The pothole ghost opens up a hole round where his mouth would be if he had a human face and eats the candy bar in one bite. After a moment or so, two more, you can see some additional definition come into his foggy body. While he doesn't have a clear human shape yet, you can see more of a silhouette. What was just wispy, foggy tendrils solidify into a short haircut. And you can make out now that he's also wearing, along with his overalls, a sleeveless t-shirt.
All
That
right.
feels better, says the pothole ghost. Hey, mister, you better head out before the breathers leave you behind. The kid ghost points out that Ziggy and the tour group are filing outwards.
We head on out with him.
Nathan has been incessantly asking questions.
What questions? Like, do you want answers to questions or just keeping Ziggy busy?
Just keeping Ziggy busy.
Making sure we have good notes to call back on when we poke this thread later.
So as Ziggy leads the group outside, and the ghost of the little boy follows along into the door of the theater and waves an enthusiastic goodbye. Ziggy starts telling the other tourists, our next stop is actually our last. I know I said that we were going to 4 places, but this is a twofer. We're going to St. Anthony's Chapel, and behind it, the Whispering Peak Memorial Gardens. That's the town cemetery, and it is quite possibly the most haunted place here.
Stands to reason.
Ziggy brings the group of you back onto the bus. He drives out to the western edge of town where the cemetery is. He takes you to the far end where the old cemetery is. And out front, there is a small brick church. There is a plaque here stating that this is a Colorado heritage site. Ziggy points at the chapel as everyone disembarks. This is St. Anthony's Chapel, he says. It's the oldest building in town. We know that it dates back to at least 1835. We don't know who built it because we don't know who built it because the building itself was only discovered in 1880 when Whispering Peaks was founded here. It's believed that this goes back that this church was built during the second attempt at settlement. He grins at the locals. Have you kids been learning your history?
Yeah, it took 3 times for people to be able to live here, and the first 2 times ended kind of roughly.
I couldn't hear what you said. Could you repeat that, please, Jeff?
Sorry. It took 3 times for Whispering Peaks to really stay settled. The first 2 times went really roughly, if I recall correctly.
Ziggy smiles and says, "Hey, folks, the towny kid's right. So the first time the city was settled was 1775. However, the city settlement didn't last. The first settlement wasn't much more than a trading post and some houses. But in 1780, according to the records that were left behind, the trading post was dissolved after a harsh winter forced the families that lived here to deal with starvation. Only one man was found in 1780 when someone came to use the settlement by next spring. He said that he had to eat his family to survive. The second attempt happened in 1830. No one knows what happened there. Just that sometime in 1835, we have the last records of someone coming into the building, coming into the city and leaving alive. Sometime in 1836, traders came and found the entire settlement abandoned. They thought this place was cursed, and everyone left it alone. No one tried to settle here again until 1880. And that's when the church was found and renamed the St. Anthony's Chapel. He turns around and says to the group, "Well, what we're really interested in here isn't just some pieces of spooky history. It's a specific incident, the 1904 Carpetbagger murders." He looks around at the tourists, looking for a reaction, and then turns back around to continue. During 1904, over the course of a year, 12 traveling salesmen were found dead and strung up on the church's on a tree that was out front of the church. No one knows what happened, just that the traveling salesmen appeared to have been killed and their corpses were hung after death. This time, the killer was never found either.
There's a lot of murderers here.
He grinned and says, "Sure is, kid. This place is the per capita murder capital of the U.S.
God bless
Of
Whispering
course,"
Peaks.
he shrugs. We still don't have all that many total murders. I think only about 2-ish hundred confirmed murders over the course of our history. Maybe 3. But the big ones are what the folks are here to see.
God bless
And
Whispering
speaking
Peaks.
of,
Only way you leave is in a casket.
he tells the group that they can go around and take pictures, and they're even allowed to go into the church if they want. And tells them to get their fill before before the climax of the tour, the site of the earliest uh, mass murder in Whispering Peaks history.
Any ghosts?
Looking for ghosts again?
Always.
Yep.
It's what we're here for.
The inside of the church is actually fairly busy. There's about 24 ghosts here. They're all talking with each other and appear to be haggling. The group is led by a ghost standing in in the very back, acting as a sort of referee for trading. You notice he takes something from each of the trading ghosts. Um, you see that this ghost is wearing a trench coat and fedora, uh, and with various types of aquatic plants, uh, like duckweed, draped over his shoulder and hat.
So,
Hello. Go ahead.
uh,
The
so
ghost looks up and grins. Ah, I heard that we'd had some sin eaters in town, and I guessed that you guys would be coming to find me soon enough. I got a hint from the Mad Undertaker.
I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with who you are.
The name's Grinnin' Sam, and trade is the name of the game. Do you wouldn't happen to have anything that ghosts might want? This is the place where ghosts come to buy, sell, and hopefully make a profit.
does anyone else have grave goods? I already burned mine.
I do.
Nope.
So, what should I grave goods? I'm still in changeling brain. All I'm thinking is, here, let's sell him a nightmare.
Uh, what a ghost is going to want either entertainment or food or something that would be useful to them. Deeply practical stuff.
Grave goods is a merit that lets you just have random cast-offs, as in
The ghosts of
ghost
objects.
items.
Okay, what is the best book that most of them would not have read? Um,
10 Secrets to Immortality.
oh, that would just be insulting. Oh my god.
Honestly, like just anything fairly recent. Probably something they haven't read before.
Okay, let's go with
Death of a Salesman.
No, don't insult the host. How about Good Omens or something like that? Fairly recent.
yeah, that works for me. I was thinking Anne Rice.
Sure.
Come
So
on,
let's do
vampires
Good
aren't
Omens.
real.
I'm gonna smack you. All right, so I pull out a good copy of Good Omens.
You hand over the book to the ghost, and he gives it a look over. From this close to him, you get a good look at Grinning Sam. Most ghosts are a sort of translucent blue, and he's no exception. But you get the feeling that even if he wasn't following the standard ghostly color scheme, his flesh would be a bluish tint. It's loose and hanging off of him, and occasionally, as he moves, a little bit of it will slough off or tear off entirely. Um, you also notice that he's continually dripping ghostly water onto the floor, except for the carpet bag that he carries, which is instead dripping a ghostly ichorous substance that you think would be a sort of blackish red if it wasn't under the blue filter of ghosthood. He hands it back to you, hands the book back to you after taking a good look. He goes, well, I'm sure you could find a decent trade. Usually, how it works here is cast off, which is a ghost of an item, for another cast off, a bargeist, which is a ghost of an animal, for multiple cast offs or another bargeist. Um, and of course, memories are the most highly valued thing here. So if you get a hold of any, you know where to go to get the most out of them.
I'm sorry, I could have a ghost of a cat.
Ghost animals don't tend to live long, he says, but yeah, they exist. Sometimes folks like to get a hold of them so they can have a little bit of companionship until they fade away, or to eat them. Usually they're easier to catch and eat than another human ghost. They struggle.
Nathan attempts not to let his dismay show.
So, well,
Roll real quick. I want you to roll composure plus expression.
Are we debating?
No, you, Nathan.
Yeah. Is there a debate going on?
No.
Damn.
Can
Single success. What's up, Tibbs?
can I try a let's see here, where is it? Sorry. Um can I try a intelligence and empathy roll to see if I can figure out if what he's hiding, what he's not saying?
Sure.
thank you. I am afraid I cannot read those characters, but we're so glad that you are following us.
Howdy. Thanks for the follow. I am very happy to see you. Me too. Unfortunately, I can't read the katakana, but thanks for the follow.
Thank you.
So while you're rolling, Tibbs, I'm going to tell Lex what the results of their uh, roll.
Okay.
Nathan does a good job of controlling his feelings, but Grinning Sam seems to have caught the general gist. Uh, he smiles even wider, so wide that it would be almost like uh, like the top of his head would come off. And also, thank you, Passion Lip. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you, Passion Lip. Always glad to have another follower.
Since you told us what it says, I want to at least make sure I give you your due. Anyway, Grinning Sam's gives Nathan a huge smile and says, "Hey, kid, things are tough. Not every ghost out there is lucky enough to be remembered or to have something that anchors them down to the living world well, or even to still have one. Houses fall down, chairs and whatnots rot, people die too. And when that happens, a ghost has got to do what a ghost has got to do. Sure, at first, you just stick to whatever cast-offs you can find, some ghostly memory of a thing. And if you're lucky, that thing will be food. If you're not lucky, you might end up having to eat whatever you find, just so you can absorb its essence. And sometimes all you can find is another ghost. Don't judge. You haven't walked the mile in our grave shoes yet.
Nathan's hands are up. Nope, nope, not judging, just startled.
So, Ethan, having taken a good look at Grinning Sam and gauging his body language and other factors, you get the feeling that he's trying to make a good impression. He seems very excited to meet Sin Eaters. And from the way he keeps looking around, you get the idea that he thinks he can make out like a bandit from you guys.
Jeff, you had your hand up.
So while these two have been interacting over here, I've been doing my duty keeping an eye on Ziggy. And
I'm
since
sorry, Jeff. I don't know why it's just you, but sometimes your mic, I can't hear what your mic says.
my
Does
apologies,
that happen to you, Tibbs and Lex too?
have you guys been able to hear me?
Now I can. That last little bit there was really muffled, but now you seem to be fine.
Well, I'm super glad I am the source of every audio issue tonight, so at least we've isolated it. Thank you everyone for being extremely patient with us. I'm trying really hard. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I'm trying. Uh,
You're doing
We're
fine.
learning.
Anyway, so I'm bothering Ziggy while all this is going on because all the tourists have scattered, so I probably can get a couple of seconds of his attention. And I'm going to say, hey, you mentioned that you were taking us to 4 out of 6. What are the other two?
Oh, well, there's the Cotton Winter Resort and Whispering Peaks High, he says, grinning big. Did you guys ever hear about the 1988 prom night massacre?
Uh, I've heard a, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, the cops just say that it was just the work of some crazy person who killed a bunch of kids during prom. But some folks contest that it was more. He waggles his eyes and says there was actually an edition of the yearbook that had some information and crime scene photos, and it looked like something occult was going on.
I leaned in. If someone had a copy of that yearbook, do you think the museum would be interested in it?
The museum already has one.
Oh, dang.
But thanks for looking out. You managed to five-finger discount one?
I think I know where I could find one. Just
Well,
figure.
good luck.
And what happened at the Cotton Winter Resort? I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, the you didn't hear about though? That was the gold medal slings in 1958 when a bunch of athletes training for the 1960s Olympics were killed.
Oh, do you notice? Ziggy quickly sees the Ty's face fall as something processes and connects in his head. So they killed a bunch of people who were about to get out of this town, huh?
Yeah, it was actually one of the smallest serial murder spree events that happened here. They got a lady who was an actual gold medalist skier. That's what they named the event after. And then they got a few others too. Um, there's some theories that the other murders were meant to cover up who the killer of the gold medalist could have been, but who knows? It's 70 years ago.
Thank you. Well, sorry for distracting everyone from their stuff. Back to you guys if you had anything else you wanted to do with Grinning Sam.
I'm just looking around to see who wants a copy of Good Omens.
Just trying to find a interesting thing to trade for.
I'm just trying to find the person who looks the most desperate.
All right. That's a thing we can do. Roll me wits plus streetwise.
2 successes.
Nathan's eyes settle on a ghost who is uh, desperately floating from group to group, apparently attempting to sell its own ripped off leg.
Please just give him the goddamn thing and so he doesn't have to sell his leg.
Yeah. So I walk up to this ghost and hold out my hand to shake.
The ghost floats back a couple inches from you, but looking at you warily. But after a moment, when he notices that you aren't attacking, he returns the shake. This ghost is not entirely distinct. He isn't as foggy as the pothole ghost, but isn't as clearly defined as the little boy that you spoke with earlier or Grinning Sam. Um, uh, he has he's bald with extremely sallow skin, like he was halfway through mummification, and an eye missing. He's wearing ghostly rags uh, and holding in his other hand his own ripped off leg. Do do you want to trade? Anything, anything. I'll take anything.
Yes, I'll trade.
He happily hands over his leg.
I hand over the copy of the book and gladly take his leg.
The ghost looks at the book happily before taking a big bite. He swallows and looks up at you, a grin forming on his skull-like face. Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. I owe you so much. I didn't want to have to eat my leg.
Hey, do me a
It wouldn't.
favor.
Yes, anything, sir, anything.
Put your leg back on. It'll do me more use on you. But I need you to keep an eye out on things for me, okay?
Of course, sir, of course, anything that you want. The ghost takes back the leg and affixes it where it seems to meld back to his spectral flesh as though it were liquid.
What's your name?
Name? His face immediately falls. You can see that his hands are beginning to shake.
I think
Name?
Can
Name?
I can I call you Fred?
Grinning Sam walks over and very hurriedly says, "Do not do that, and don't say the N word."
what do we call you?
The ghost takes minutes, taking a deep, deep breath, and then takes another bite out of the book. He seems to have calmed down briefly. Everyone just calls me Moneybag, sir.
Nice to meet you, Moneybags.
Of course, sir, of course. He floats away, happily chewing on the book, bite by bite. Grinning Sam looks at the three of you, his trademark smile never wavering. Kids, most ghosts don't remember their names, and it is a sore point for a lot of them. Not every ghost, but for a lot of ghosts, just thinking about how they forgot their own name could send someone into frenzy. Not that they could do much to you, probably, he says, laughing jovially. But we don't want a riot in here, do we?
Of course.
No.
What is a correct way to ask for something to refer to someone as that they go by here? Is there something like that?
Just don't say the N word. You said, what can I call you? That works. Anything. We don't really have a euphemism for it. Generally, we just kind of give nicknames to people.
Gotcha. My apologies. Didn't mean to be rude.
So, speaking of polite society or manners, we've got a little bit of breathing space here. So, grinning Sam, yeah?
That's what they call me, kid.
Okay. All I'm gonna say is you can't bullshit a bullshitter. I know you're trying to butter up to us. Now that ain't that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we'll have a better relationship going forward if we're on the level with each other.
Okay, he says, his smile not wavering in the least. I'll lay it on the table. We haven't had any city-eaters in this town for nigh on 100 years. The last one wasn't much interested in helping ghosts either, if you get my drift.
Was that sometime back in the 1950s?
Yeah. Uh,
I know the man in
well,
question.
I do too. He lives out back. The Mad Undertaker, well, I'll just say he tried his best, but the guy he was bound to, he was a real piece of work.
Maybe sometime I'll have something of value to trade for a story like that. But I do have some information I'm in the market for if you happen to find a seller.
Well, kid, anything can be bought and sold here as long as you understand what we buy and sell for. I think I explained it to you, but you realize no one here's got any money, right?
Oh, I know. Uh, just didn't bring my payment in kind with me. I dropped it off somewhere else today, but I'll have some more tomorrow.
He nods and says, and just also keep in mind, kids, that ghosts can get a lot of places living people can't. So maybe if you're looking to buy, we could sell you something other than you know, some nice ghostly flowers.
Well, I'm looking for any information about whoever first stumbled across that bit of artwork in the warehouse uptown. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Uh, Grinning Sam's uh, winning smile gets even bigger. And he goes, that I do, kid. That I do. It was a to do, I tell you what.
So I'm very interested in hearing about who found it first, and especially if anyone happened to see it while the art was being installed.
He uh he smiles huge at you guys and says, I happen to know exactly who was there first. And I can make some introductions for you if you want, but it's gonna cost.
Well, afraid I'm new to the market. What's your price?
What do you got, kid?
It's what I can get.
We barter here. So let's see. Uh, for a secret like that, I definitely want something that I could trade. So memories. Some
I'll,
good ones, like a wedding night.
I'll need to do some tracking down, but I'm sure I can find something like it.
Great, says grinning Sam. Well, I'll be here waiting for you, kids. And if you got something else you want to buy, sell, or trade, keep grinning Sam's name, he says, winking, in mind.
Yes, sir. Speaking of which, we are about 10 minutes out from our usual wrap-up point. Do we want to start winding down, or do we want to try and speed run our way through the cemetery?
We can do the cemetery if you want. Yeah, no problem.
Let's be quiet, respectful, and listen, guys. I don't think we got time to poke around. And we already know everyone here.
Ziggy calls the group back together and then takes the tour group out behind the chapel and into the cemetery. Ziggy points out and says, this area is called the Old Whispering Peak Cemetery. This area of the burial grounds is cordoned off as part of a historical site. There aren't any burials here newer than 1920. For contemporary burials, he points does to a point of the cemetery a few fields away that is much better kept and has modern graves. That's the Whispering Peaks Memorial Garden. Of course, what's interesting here is that it was the site of Whispering Peaks' first serial killer. In 1882, there was an event called the Colorado Living Burials, where prominent citizens of the town were found buried up to their necks in the cemetery. Not in good condition, though. Uh, it seems that every single one had been left to die in their own neck deep grave. They never found the guy, but it was suspected that the grave digger was the one who did it. After all, he had all the means, the motives, and the opportunities. As Ziggy explains the uh, incident, um, two things happen at once. You hear some sirens off in the distance, and Ziggy gets a buzz on his walkie-talkie. He picks it up, and you can hear the old receptionist's voice saying that uh, if he's not wrapping up, he needs to get back to the museum immediately because they're closing down early. The cops are in the neighborhood. They found something in Farmer Kimball's warehouses. And I think we'll cut the scene here.
Oh,
Okay, everybody. Let's do our aspirations and call it a night. Who wants to go first?
I can. Okay, so look into prom queen in the yearbooks. I think that's a step and clear.
Yes, definitely.
Find the killer. I think we took a step.
Yes, one step has happened as you are uh, doing what you can.
All right, check on grandma. I think step and clear.
Yeah, you did that during your downtime.
Do something smart. I think something that was looking into prom queen in the yearbooks and upping my synergy.
You
Yep.
also. Sorry.
Go on.
And find my voice. I definitely spoke a lot more this time. Nathan's finally figuring out how to stop being so uh, intimidated by everything, being alive again.
Hmm.
And that's me.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go. Get scouted for college hockey. I put together a highlight reel in order to have something to work with for that.
Yep.
Find the son of a bitch who took everything from me. We've got the first bit of leads that we have. We found the thing on the Da Vinci murders, and well, the cops are finally making moves, so we've got hope of following up on that as well.
Yep.
Get Geist 101 from the Mad Undertaker. Done and done.
Yep.
Uh, we took Ziggy's tour and got leads on local haunts. We have a ton. We have so much.
Yep.
And figure out something about Be Aggressive. We have a firm theory about who Be Aggressive might be.
Sounds like it. Tips?
You are muted.
Sorry. All right. So first aspiration, get out of Whispering Peaks. All right. So getting a picture of who the more influential people in the on in the ghost scene means that it's more resources that I can see about tapping to influence things.
Yep. I'll give that a beat.
The world record speed run. Well, I'm starting to uh, get a an idea of, or I'm starting to gather friends that can keep an eye out for me for when my um, I don't know. I have I don't know a way that I can bullshit that one. Um,
Honestly, I think making any sort of stride towards returning to a normal life would count for that one. So I'll give you a step,
okay. Um,
a beat.
so let's see here. Dun, dun. Okay. Then we got learn the rules of the game. Well, we get we just got kind of a not only did I do some exploration on what I can do, but we also kind of got a bit more information on uh, the social rules of being a ghost and all that kind of stuff. And
Definitely.
and then lastly, find the gaps. I I'm starting to piece together how with piecing everything together on the social and political side of the ghost world. I can start finding the where the gaps are in the power bases and stuff like that.
You already started exploiting one because you found a relatively well-established ghost and used him as an anchor point to make friends with.
Hmm.
Yep. And you had that conversation with Grinning Sam.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to award everyone 3 beats for today's session as well.
Woo!
Sweet.
Oh, thanks, Passion Lip. That might be real helpful. I know Jeff does in fact have an NVIDIA 2080 Super, so we should look into that. Thanks.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot that message so it doesn't get lost.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm
Great.
juggling too much on this end.
Well, thanks for coming out tonight, everybody. We will be here again 2 weeks from now on the 21st. We hope you join us for session 3, and I hope everyone has a good night.